Okay, midnight at the Oasis. Okay, this is my friend Amy Young.
Hi.
My friend Amy Young is building a studio gallery apartment space just like mine but bigger in Oklahoma City. It needs to be bigger in Oklahoma City because Oklahoma City is a much bigger community than we are. Apartments, garden, the whole works. And she's doing what I'm doing there. And so I instantly fell in love with this woman and what she's doing. And we instantly formed a Kismet connection based on that. So Amy, tell us a little bit about 612 Galleries.
Okay. 612 is going to be open next year after we finish renovating the building in the Paseo. It will be a community education space, so it will be for anyone that wants to come and take classes. We will have a preschool during the day and then after-school programs and adult programs in the afternoon and evenings. We'll have a gallery, 4 classrooms, a teaching kitchen that can also work when it's used as an event space, and 3 apartments so that we can have artist residencies and sustainability residencies as well. And that could be artists, musicians, writers, whoever we can get to come in, speakers that will share knowledge with people that they've brought in from other places. And we hope to partner with places like yours so that we can send artists out. The idea is our mission is sharing tools to build a better community. And that will be sharing tools on how to do things as well as the actual tools. We'll have a library of tools that people can check out.
This is an awesome idea.
Thanks.
What does that mean? Library of tools.
Well,
Explain
if
that
we're
to me.
doing cooking classes, not everyone can afford the big mixer or whatever they need. So they can check out those tools to take home and create things that they've learned how to do in our classes. They can replicate that at home because you need to keep doing it in order to really know how to do it. This can also work for artistic tools. It could work for tools to work on your car, gardening tools. We want people to be able to take home what they learn and actually do it at their house.
So I think that's awesome.
Thanks.
Community tools.
Yeah, and we'll have classes in art, music, film, cooking, gardening, and sustainable living. So the hope is that we can form a community action groups that can help each other as well.
Is it a sponsored model where the people can just walk in off the street and participate at no cost to themselves because you have sponsors providing it? Or is it a membership model, or is it a pay-as-you-go model?
It will be like a membership model, but it'll also be a cooperative model where if you give a class, then you can take a class for free. We want to keep the costs down, and we realize that not everyone can afford to do things. We want to provide as much as we can for free, but I also think that after working at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art, I realized through some of the things that I planned and others at the museum planned that if you charge even $1 or $5, it helps people to feel like there's a little more value to it, and they'll be more likely to show up.
Sure.
So there might be a minimal cost, but we're hoping that we can pay the bills through the preschool and also money that we raise. But really, we'd like for all the money we raise to go towards programming.
Sure. I'd just like to raise some money.
Yeah.
So what inspired you? What brought this about? What were you doing? One day you wake up and say, today I want to sink my life savings into a building and open it to the public.
Well, the lucky thing is that my partner went and actually bought the building. It's at 612 Northwest 29th Street in Oklahoma City. It's in the Paseo, and it's just south of the Old Trinity Church. And we had looked at buildings in the Paseo and buildings in the Plaza District, and at that time, the Plaza District was not quite where it is now. It's been really exciting to watch what's happening in Oklahoma City and to see the Plaza District just thrive. And, we're not one of those groups that feels like there's competition. We're just excited that it can happen all over. We want that vibrant artistic community to be throughout Oklahoma City, and we want to be a part of it. But really, I think that the idea came when I was a little girl. My mom said that when I was little, I was always talking about having a little red schoolhouse, and when other people were playing house or doctor, I was playing school. I would bring home the old textbooks that weren't being used anymore at the school. And I would set up chairs in rows and make my friends sit down and do those old SRA reading things.
Love them things. Love them
I
things.
did too. And when they weren't used anymore, you could take things home at that time. So anyway, I thought of that because my mom told me that that's what I was doing when I was little, and I barely remember it, but I do remember it a little. And then whenever I was teaching elementary school in Norman at Lakeview Elementary School, I just started thinking I really want to do this little school, and it was going to be a tiny thing at that point. I had taught art history really and appreciation for 2 years along with music, and I ended up staying and researching until about 9 o'clock at night every night. I was going out and the parking lot was empty except for my car, and it was dark, and I never had that experience really when I was teaching music. And it's not that I don't love music, I do, it's just that this really got me. So I had to go back to school, and I got my bachelor's in art history, and then I went to work at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art as an education curator. And then I left that and went back to school and got my master's in art history, and it was all leading up towards this. When my partner moved home from California, James Varnum, he had been there taking architecture and film. Those were his majors at USC. So when he got home, and that's when we met, he was renovating a house and I was renovating a house, and so we would compare notes on appliances and paint colors and all kinds of things. And then that turned into drinking wine and talking about our ideas for the future.
Right.
And
somehow alcohol is always
alcohol, yeah.
Alcohol is always involved
Exactly.
in decisions like this.
And then we decided to just combine our dreams because he always wanted to renovate a historic space and tie it to the community in some way and have sustainability be a part of it. And so we decided to combine our dreams, and he found this apartment, old eightplex apartment, 1929 building in the Paseo, and he is a master at keeping things low on the price level. We got our building and our lot for $20,000. The lot next to it was much more expensive.
Nice. Yeah, the Paseo District is expensive.
It was not cheap, but it was totally worth it. We spent about 2.5 years going through commission hearings and rezoning it with a special plan unit development. Now we can have residential and business and all these, we can have chickens and small animals and the community garden and all these things. And it's been a great journey so far.
So you turned your lifelong ambition of teaching and your love of community into, or you are turning your lifelong ambition of teaching and your love of community into a school of life skills, if you will, because there's a lot of people that don't learn these basic life skills of arting and cooking and creating and gardening and the other life skills that are going to be important in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So you've turned all that into this. There had to be obstacles, there had to be hurdles along the way. What would you say was your biggest internal hurdle?
My biggest internal hurdle is fear, and it will continue to be my biggest hurdle. Fear that, I'm not qualified to do this, or do I have what it takes to lead people? But the good thing is, because it took so long to get the rezoning taken care of, I was able to finish my master's during that time, and that really gives you some confidence, because that is scary stuff. It's really hard. And you face your inner demons every day, especially when you're in class trying to, support whatever you claim.
Sure. But let's be realistic. Not everybody can go get a master's degree.
Right.
So, what practical thing did you do to face your fear?
I just pushed myself.
I
just made myself do it. It was like you said a minute ago with the drawing and finding inspiration. You just have to do it.
That's right.
And you have to believe in yourself, and you have to jump out with a little bit of faith too.
I find that faith is a very important thing in this thing, and it's not so much, for me, it's not so much a belief in myself as much as it is a belief in the idea.
Yeah.
I find that if I believe in the idea is strong enough, I can
Yeah.
push past my fear. What if I'm not qualified to do this? Well, then we'll build the space up and we'll get somebody who is
Right,
qualified.
right.
What if nobody comes? Well, then it'll be here anyway, and somebody can eventually make something of it. What if nobody is interested in it?
Right,
I'm interested in it.
right,
So you just find little things to push past, and you use the idea
right.
to get past it. So what were your biggest external hurdles?
Well, I think just learning how to do those things, yeah. I feel like I've been really blessed in my life, monetarily, educationally, relationally. I feel like I've had an easy life in comparison to most, but I also feel like because of that, my main blessing is all the love that I've had coming towards me nonstop from my family and friends. So I feel like I have more to give. And it's not that I feel like you have to give everything you have, but I want to. I really see the needs for an open-minded, educational experience for preschoolers in the center of the city. I see a need for people to have an experience where they learn how to do things so that they can do it for themselves. I see a need for intergenerational learning, bringing seniors in to work with kids. It's good for both of them. I know that we can provide these things, and I know that, raising money is not the easiest thing, especially in this economy, but I just have faith that we're going to have everything we need because there's so many other people that want the same thing.
Right. Okay, so creativity attracts negativity. It always does. There's always the naysayers.
Yeah. I've only had a couple of those.
You can't do this here. Nobody's going to be interested in this here.
Right.
You're in chick shit. I'm sorry. This is my demons. What do you say? What advice would you give? Now, and I want to point out. I want to take a second. I want to point out. Neither one of us have any special training. Or when we started, neither one of us had any special training that would lend itself to opening a community center like we're doing. Both of us just saw a need and jumped in there and did it. She went further than I did. She went out and got some education beyond what that. Me, I'm just throwing them out there on the table and see what gets slammed.
I don't think a master's in art history qualifies me to start a business.
Yeah, but having that MA at the end of your name looks better to a bank than Joe Schmo.
Yeah, well,
at the end of my name.
but
BS.
you're doing it.
BS at the end of my name. So I want to point out that neither one of us, when we started this, had any special training, had any special skills. Skill set when we set out to do this. She was an educator, and I was a business professional. Beyond that, the skill set is a strong desire to promote creativity in the community. And these are the steps we are taking to promote creativity in the community. So whatever step you are taking to promote creativity in the community, you are going to be faced with similar demons. You are going to be faced with similar negativity. And I would like to know what Amy says to the naysayers when they pop up.
Well, in the beginning, when I was really afraid, I would scramble, to find an answer, and of course that will come off as somewhat insecure. The more confidence I found, the more I say, well, we'll see.
What built your confidence? The master's degree.
The master's degree, putting myself through the fire of fear, but also realizing that so many people want to help, and they're supporting us, they're encouraging us, they're excited too, and they want to be a part of it. So I feel like this is what I was meant to do, and I know we can make anything happen. I really believe that we can find people from all over the world to come in, and we will eventually have an exchange program so that we can provide more opportunities for artists in our community. I believe that education is key for growth and learning and happiness in your life. So I know that it's going to happen. I just believe that it's meant to be.
Awesome. So I encourage you to promote creativity in your community, even if it's just even if it's just a random act of kindness, even if it's just
Yeah.
developing creativity in yourself and your family and your children and their friends, set the example of creativity. And you're going to face demons and you're going to face the struggles, but the more you get out there, the more you throw yourself out there, the more exposure you get in doing this kind of stuff, the more you shine a light for other people to follow.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to have met Amy,
I'm happy to have met you.
and we are joining our studios as we speak. Our two studio spaces have a very similar mission and very similar existence, if you will, and we're close enough proximity that we can share physical resources as well as emotional and intellectual resources, and that's very lucky. But thank you.
For me too.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Amy, for coming. I really appreciate it. And
It's my pleasure.
guys, thank you for watching. This has been Midnight at Oasis.